Hey guys, Drifter here. It's been a while, but I'm back with another health update, and as you probably saw from the thumbnail, to the best of my knowledge and my doctor's ability to tell, I have an extremely rare parasitic infection in my bloodstream that's causing me to essentially have body-wide system failures. It's a really weird one called Babesia. Babesia isn't even a bacteria or a virus. It's literally a protozoan, which is something that I haven't thought about since 6th grade biology class. It's in the class of tick-borne illnesses, kind of like Lyme and Bartonella and some of that stuff, but exceedingly rare and exceedingly weird, but treatable. And we're going to come back to that topic in just a second. Here in the beginning, I do want to do a brief mental health check-in with all of you, because I know I've said a lot of very unusual, incredible, seemingly impossible, rambly kind of things over the last 2 years. And the more common assumption in the community, and to be honest, rightfully so, is that I'm experiencing some kind of mental breakdown. It's Munchausen syndrome, it's hypochondriasis, something like that. And I wanted to reiterate again that I have gone to full therapy twice, and I've seen 2 different psychiatrists. And to the best of their ability to tell, I do not have these disorders. Munchausen's is kind of a nasty thing. People tend to hurt themselves or injure themselves to seek attention or caregiving in some capacity. They're known to dirty up cut wounds, get fake tests, get out of country medical tests and stuff like that, which is definitely not what I'm doing. I'm all above board. I'm going to be showing you my tests today. Hypochondriac or hypochondriasis has been replaced in the DSM by somatic symptom disorder, which is sort of an anxiety conversion disorder. If you're really stressed out, it can manifest in physical neurological symptoms, which is something that I do kind of fit the bill for. But the psychiatrist that I went to see said that given the extremely unusual lab works, that no amount of stress and no amount of somatic symptoms can give you beriberi or lower your testosterone like it did. So they weren't really interested in treating me for any of these disorders. So I just wanted to let you all know, I don't think I've gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I guess that's not entirely up for me to decide, but let's move back to what's been going on. Just yesterday, my doctor said that she wants to treat me for a Babesia infection. This is an insanely rare protozoan infection that you usually get from ticks. The odds of getting this in Texas are about 1 in 10 million, or significantly less likely than a lightning strike. However, the symptoms match very closely. I have about 80% of the symptoms of a Babesia infection, and this is like a whole body, systemic thing. So that's a pretty close match, though I will say that there's a whole bunch of different systemic infections and diseases that will do similar kinds of things and symptoms. But out of nowhere, True Game Data, of all people, reached out to me and told me that I should take this test from a company called IgeneX. They specialize in tick-borne illnesses, because his mother got Lyme, and it took her like 10 years to even figure out it was Lyme. And I was beyond desperate, super in pain, and I paid not just for the Lyme test, but for the everything they have. Just forked over my cash, just test me. And I tested positive for Babesia in the FISH test, which is the most accurate type of lab test you can get. And I also tested positive for Bartonella. We can put those on the screen here. We'll blur out my name and my doctor's name, but yes, I did get this coming back. It was extremely difficult to find an infectious disease doctor in the state of Texas that even wanted to manage this, because it's so rare, but I did find a doctor who had treated this before. And we redid some tests, less accurate, cheaper ones at Quest and LabCorp and stuff. They all came back negative, which is unusual. But this type of thing is extremely hard to diagnose with lab work, and sometimes you diagnose with symptoms only. So given that I have 1 positive test on the most accurate lab you can order, some negatives, and a close symptom match, she wants to treat me. It's a pretty simple regimen of antibiotics, but we're going to take a step back. I'm doing this so out of order. I just have a lot to share today. It's been about a year since I started Thiamine supplementation. I went into full beriberi about 2 years ago, and Thiamine was extremely helpful. It helped get rid of the worst of the symptoms, of most of the mental fatigue, physical fatigue, most importantly, the constant burning sensation that made me feel like my skin was on fire 24/7, like I was the Human Torch that couldn't turn off. Very hard to sleep like that. That's gone. It's been a tremendous improvement. My hands are slowly gaining back strength and durability, emphasis on the slow part. I can now do most light work without consequence, but I can't work for long periods of time or exert a lot of strength. I have a tendency to sprain things, and they have a tendency to stay sprained when that happens. I encountered a number of orthopedic problems this spring and summer, constantly spraining ankles, knees, hips, elbows, and stuff like that, just constant joint pain. And it felt like anytime I exerted even the slightest amount of effort, my joints would just hurt for weeks. So I suspected that there was something else missing, which I started taking a bunch of random tests and went back to doctors to look with things. I still was struggling, and I'm still struggling with joint pain. Fatigue is now relatively mild. Still have mood swings on occasion, usually a bit on the more negative side, sometimes really positive ones. They tend to pass in about 6 hours. Temperature sensitivities, generalized weakness. It's extremely hard to build muscle. I heal very slowly if I get hurt. And a weird one that I learned recently, thanks to the smartwatch here, is that I get little to no REM sleep any night. If you sleep 8 hours, you're supposed to kind of get 1.5 to 2 hours of REM sleep. If I sleep 8 hours, I'll be getting 15 to 30 minutes, which is very weird. I'm not sure if it's medically significant. Maybe people are just built differently. I don't know. So I still have very limited mobility, limited ability to do work, limited entertainment options based on that. It's difficult for me to like physically hold a book long enough to read it, much less play games. But the bed rig that J-Hub built, we did a video about very recently, has been godly. Being able to lay down and play TFT and stream every day has been a huge improvement for mental health and ability to get work done on top of all of that. So based on all of what I've been experiencing and the lab results and what my doctor wants to do, they are going to try to treat me with antibiotics. I think it's a 10-day course of relatively low-dose oral antibiotics. And the big one is to see if my symptoms improve, because if I do have Babesia, they should improve pretty quickly. Relatively small chance of side effects, but there's always a chance with everything. The biggest problem I'm currently experiencing is with my spine. For reasons that are completely unknown for me, my spine was broken. Yeah, I had the one vertebra that snapped, but everything else was fine. And in the span of less than 6 months this year, I got arthritis in every single vertebra in my spine and every single disc desiccated. So we went from normal -1 break to arthritis and full desiccated discs in probably less than 6 months. And it honestly just seemed to advance rapidly without a lot of clear reason for it. For all of the issues, including my spine and my other orthopedic complaints, I've had MRIs, CT scans, x-rays, physical exams, and everything comes back either I'm perfectly normal and healthy, or even healthier than normal. Sir, were you a college athlete? And that sounds like a ridiculous, like Trump level lie, but I get that. Apparently I have nice bone structure, according to the orthopedic doctors. And nothing that I seem to do is really improving my hands or my back very much. I've done 4 rounds of physical therapy. Occupational therapy was actually a little helpful. We got a little progress with that, but we're still a long way from normal. We did regular therapy, aquatic therapy. I've been eating super healthy to the point of driving my wife crazy. Regular exercise. I've got a better mattress. I've been meditating. I do touch grass and see sunlight every day. And all of that has amounted to very, very, very little progress for me. So I'm hoping to go the more medical route. Kind of a fun story. About 2 weeks ago, I passed out for the first time in my life. I just got gas. It was just painful gas. I don't know if the stuff gurgling in my stomach did something weird with the blood pressure, but I thought, oh man, this feels bad. I might crap myself. I better go to the bathroom right now. And I took about 2 steps. My memory completely ends. And the next thing I know, my wife is poking me because I'm laying on the floor. And I'm like, wow, the bed is really hard. What's going on here? So I got super lucky. I fell just flat on my back, slapped down super hard. I missed a super sharp corner, which we have a clip of my bathtub by like inches. My head just like grazed it. The floof of these hairs touched it. And with all the orthopedic problems and easy injury and stuff like that, I have been under the assumption that if I suffer a bad fall, I'm going to have to be in a nursing home. And unbelievably, this is the worst fall I've ever had in my life. I didn't even get a single bruise. And then a week later, I twisted my ankle just taking a walk. That's sort of the stupid kind of problems that I'm dealing with here. As of right now, I'm not particularly independent. I wish I could say that I was more independent and fine. But I'm often in need of help and adult babysitting. J-Hub is actually visiting right now. He'll probably be editing this video and streaming. So if you tune into his streams, you'll kind of see my background going on. But he's tremendously helpful in that regard. Always glad to have company too, but it's a little frustrating that I do kind of have to have somebody to make sure that I don't just like fall over and croak. Financially speaking, the money printer is offline. That was a great deal I had for about 2 or 3 years. I farmed every freaking penny from it, but things changed, programs changed, and now it's pretty much dead. I'm gonna try to revive that, but if nothing pops in 6 months to a year, I'll finally do a big reveal video. I think you'll enjoy it quite a lot. Savings are doing nice, but for now I'm just gonna focus more on short form social media content. That's enough to pay bills, so I don't have to dip into savings. That's very nice. We live very cheap here, relatively, considering we're in the suburbs of Dallas. And on top of that, short form content is about the amount of work that I can manage in a day. It's difficult for me to sit and even record this. That's sort of the curse, is that sitting down is painful. So imagine a world with no chairs, and also you can't lay on either side, and also like all these stupid restrictions. My modalities of rest are very limited. So because of all that, I've been struggling to keep up with regular content here on YouTube. I'm very regular on social media because it's like Twitter and TikTok is much easier to manage. YouTube is a little bit harder. Hopefully in the near future, not only will I be feeling better after this medication, but I manage things a little bit better and I can get more regular content. I'm working on some non-gaming topics. They're a lot harder to do, but more fun. And I wanted to do some easier gaming topics. I wanted to kind of do like some retro CoD stuff, top 10 maps, top 10 guns, favorite Treyarch Zombies maps, Black Ops 3 retrospective, stuff like that, where I can pull old footage and more or less just do the audio in the same format as this video. They should be fun to watch, and creating things helps me maintain my sanity, because as I mentioned before, my entertainment options are limited. I can for the most part, I can lay flat on my back all day, and that's about it. Outside of, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes here and there in the chair, tops on a good day. So creating things is very, very beneficial to my mental health, and I intend to keep doing that regardless of how ridiculous any of these problems get. So that is the best and most succinct health update that I can give all of you. I think that my tone and mood is a little bit more upbeat. For the first time in almost 3 years, we found something that seems a little bit more medically treatable, manageable, and I don't want to like hope that I definitely have Babesia, because that's a nasty thing that you don't want to have, but on the flip side, I've been in the dark so long, I kind of hope that we have something that I can treat somewhere, somehow. Whew, boy. So yeah, that's the whole health update. Hopefully in a couple of days we have more content coming. The next thing you'll see on the channel is either going to be a Logitech review or the second part of this year's Halloween video. So if you enjoyed, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.